I have a live audience too.
Yep, perfect. All right, guys, welcome back. So this is episode 6 of the Lenny Poliziani Show. Honored to have our special guest Carlos Salguero. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Salguero, yes.
Salguero. Okay, I gotta get the I gotta get the little accent in there, but glad to have you on the show. We had Keston on the show last week, which was amazing. It was only right to bring you on, and can't wait to get started and dive deep. So why don't you give the audience a little background about you, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. But first of all, thank you, Lenny, for having me. Great to just chat about how passionate I am about building businesses, buying real estate, investing and creating wealth for the future. I'm originally from Quito, Ecuador, South America, for those that maybe skipped geography class. Born and raised there, came to the States at 17 years old. First of my family ever to move to the United States.
Wow.
Came to college in Colorado, Pueblo, Colorado. If you guys have watched Undercover Billionaire with Grant, that's where we got deployed. So I know that town inside out. I was there for 5 years. Not much going on, just like you saw in the show, and even worse when I went to college, which was like a while ago.
Yeah.
But it was good for kind of planning the future. I got my degrees there, and I kind of followed the plan that everybody was saying me I should, which is go get a good education, go get a good job. So I got a master's degree in engineering, undergrad in business, and I went and applied at Hewlett Packard to be an engineer there.
Wow.
They were not hiring engineers without experience. So I was like, oh man, how do I get experience? I just graduated from college. So I took an unpaid internship with them, worked for free for 9 months so that I could get my foot in the door. And they liked my work ethic. I showed up first, left last, and I just learned as much as I could, added value to everybody I could. Great relationships were built. And then they offered me the position. And that was right around the dot-com bubble burst. So they had a lot of people go to the startups right before the bubble burst. And then when it popped, they were not hiring anymore. So they were contracting. And that created a lot of opportunity for us to go up the corporate ladder. So I became engineering manager for North America within 4 years there. So great job, great pay. I was making, multiple six figures working as a engineering manager. My salary never caught up to me, by the way. My title kept going up. My salary was 6 to 9 months behind me.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how it works for companies, right? So anyways, but I had that entrepreneur bug in me.
Mm-hmm.
I had grown up in a family of business. My dad had a printing company. My mom had an office supply store. So I grew around their business, and I wanted to do something on the side. So I started selling stuff on eBay on the side, and started flipping toner cartridges, HP toner cartridges. I was buying them for pennies on the dollar because I had access to all the overstock merchandise, and also the dented boxes, and the stuff that they don't want to sell at the retail stores. And I was flipping that on eBay, making a lot of money.
Wow.
So within about 6 to 7 months, I was doubling my salary at HP. And I walked into my manager's office. I said, hey, I got something else going on. And I didn't really give him many details, right? I just told him it's e-commerce. And he's like, e-commerce? Man, that's never going to last. It's just bad, right? People need to touch the stuff and go try the clothes on. And I was like, well, it's growing, and I think it's here to stay. So he told me as he waved goodbye, say, you're going to be back, right? And that was that, man. I've never had a job that wasn't for myself since then. Continued with that business. Moved back to Colorado. That was in California, in San Jose, California.
Okay.
And even back then, California was incredibly expensive to live. So I moved back. Hired my first couple employees, which was my family, my mama, my stepdad, and we started building the business out of the garage. it just exploded, grew, made a lot of money real fast, lost a lot of money in a couple deals real fast because of lack of experience and mentors.
Sure.
But eventually, I learned my lessons, and I leased the warehouse space, expanded, and eventually I bought my own building. So that was kind of my introduction to real estate. Bought a 50,000 square feet warehouse building that I had to put $500,000 in remodel. But it's a great story because I bought it 10 years ago, and now it's worth 9 times what I paid for it.
I was going to say warehouses right now.
Yes.
Great.
So, built the e-commerce business. Eventually, I built a 3PL fulfillment company on top of that, which I still own today. Marketing agency on top of that, which I still own today. We have a printing company that I still own today. And I've always looked at real estate as my long-term play, right? It's been a wealth builder. So now that I have my companies pretty much on autopilot with a great teams in there, I'm super focused on our real estate acquisition strategy. And my goal is to go buy $1 billion of multifamily real estate in the next 7 years.
Love that. And 10 timesing it and setting that goal, high up there. I think that's key.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, you can always reevaluate and restructure your goals and what you're striving for, but set it high, because if you fall short, you're going to be that much farther along than if you set something that's reasonable. And one of the big things I know that I guess let's tap into, because this is great, because me and you haven't had a one-on-one conversation. So This is the first time I'm hearing your backstory, which is super intriguing. As far as real estate, was anybody in your family in it, or was this something that when you bought the warehouse, you're like, the lights went on, you're like, whoa, like this is definitely, once I automate my other businesses, this is something I'm going to take on with a full head of steam?
That's a great question. So my first inroads in real estate were single family homes, like most of us, right? We buy a home for ourselves, then we want to upgrade, keep it, we don't sell it. That I had that opportunity. We turn it into a rental. So we turned it into a long-term rental. Then I turned a couple into short-term rentals. So I kind of got a little bit of exposure there. And at the same time, shortly after that, I bought the warehouse. And it was more out of, hey, I need a place for my business rather than paying rent for somebody else. I'd rather buy my own place. So that was the initial thought. But then I was curious, because I was like, look, what happens if somebody else actually pays my mortgage when I started doing the short-term rentals and single family homes? And then, what really reaffirmed the real estate idea and now obsession.
We're all obsessed.
I'm obsessed about real estate. Is my dad passed away 3 years ago, and he had built an industrial complex for his business back in Ecuador.
Wow.
Where he housed his printing company, but he also had like 3 or 4 industrial tenants. And I saw my dad live for the last 20 years of his life, after he got rid of his business, live completely worry-free and stress-free because of the cash flow that his property was providing. So I always thought, man, this is the best retirement.
Right, yeah.
Right. And when he passed, and he basically passed on that property to us, that's when I really reflected, and I went, to his funeral and met with my brothers. Now we own it. 3 of us own it. And we really started discussing and said, you know what, guys, our dad was a business owner. He made great money when he was a business owner, made some good moves. But the best move he ever made was building this place and never selling it.
Yeah.
Because it took care of him, and now it's going to take care of us and probably
generations.
Great kids.
Sure.
And it has appreciated, and it, incredible So
Wow.
that hit home.
Wow.
And I was like, it kind of caught my attention so much that I was like, I cannot waste any more time without getting serious about acquiring real estate.
Wow. And how long ago was that moment?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. And did you start out? Was it in your backyard as far as the market, or was it nationwide? Or
So I first started in my backyard,
Mhm.
and then I was like, look, Colorado, Denver, one of the hottest real estate markets in the country right now.
Crazy.
Super crazy. So I was like, let me look at other places. So I started in Texas, Milwaukee, and started buying small stuff. I bought a triplex townhome in El Paso, Texas. I bought a fourplex in Milwaukee, and great cash flow properties, but it didn't feel like I was scaling fast enough.
Got you.
So I'm like, man, there's got to be more. And in my gut, I knew I was always shopping for multifamily. I was always shopping for large multifamily. I was looking at $10 million properties, $50 million properties, $20 million properties, right? I just didn't know how to do it. So I was like, I gotta crack this nut.
Yeah.
Figure out how to crack this nut.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started listening to Grant Cardone,
Mm.
and one of my friends said, hey, there's a real estate summit in July. You need to come. I was like, let's go. So we bought BIP tickets to sit in the front row, spent 3 days there, man. And he just spoke to me straight. And he's like, get rid of your junk, meaning single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and trade up for multifamily.
Mm.
And after that event, a week and a half out of that event, I found the property that I'm sitting in right now, that it's just a gorgeous Class A trophy property here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, with 54 luxury apartments and 37,000 plus square feet of commercial space, medical space. And I put it on the contract, and we closed March 1st of this last month. And man, this week alone, we've signed 4 or 5 leases. I have 2 commercial tenants, new commercial tenants coming in with 5 to 10 year leases. I mean, completely different level
Sure.
of game, because I was open-minded and I went and got coaching from the right folks.
That's huge, and that's something that I think recently I've recognized, and I told my partner, we're not in the rooms enough with the right people. We should be in the rooms where we're the bottom people in the totem pole.
Yep.
That way we can grow and expand, and we're in groups and all that. But if you're not putting so we made it a thing with every 2 months we're going to try to attend a big event, or we're going to join CG, a mastermind. So it's about being in the room, allowing yourself to have that open mind and that growth. And that's what attracted me to you. I mean, obviously I met, you, or got introduced to you through Keston, but I love this, 10X, and Grant Cardone's mentality. He's no BS, he's cut and dry, but what he allows you to do is realize that, you're just holding yourself back. You're just setting the bar for yourself. Why not 10X that? And before you went to that event, would you say that you had that type of mentality, or was that like the clicking moment?
No, man. I when I landed at that place and started kind of looking around, and I had read the 10X rule. I had read a couple of his books, right? Sell or Be Sold, and Be Obsessed or Be Average. And I loved every word.
Sure.
Because I always felt like I was the one pushing the hardest, the most ambitious person I knew. People, were weirded out at me because I was working weekends and nights and early mornings, and I just wanted to win. It was this innate thing in me that I saw. I needed to set an example for others, but also I wanted to have success. So when I landed there and I started looking around the room, other people that were like on the same wavelength and frequency, I'm like, man, I'm home.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to be ashamed anymore of wanting to work the hardest.
The energy is the same.
and win and be competitive and And because I was kind of like an outcast, right? And
Sure.
I'll give you a funny example. I've coached my kids' soccer teams, both my daughter and my son. And my wife was telling me the other day, um, I think on travel or something, and it was like the moms were talking about you and how much they miss you being the coach. And I'm like, really? Why is that? Because you actually push the kids.
Yeah.
Because you actually win games.
Yeah.
Because you show them the strategy of how to win the game, not just to have fun. Because the funnest thing to do is winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like no kid likes to lose. We innately have winning in us,
Mm-hmm.
and we love to win.
Yep.
And it's the best feeling in the world. So that is really how I felt when I landed at a Grant Cardone event in the 10X community. Is I found winners that I could partner with.
Yep.
And that I could do live with, and
Yep.
go do things that we feel proud of.
Yep. Yep.
That's really it. So
And it's done with intention. I love that
yep.
story you just told, because you can carry, people don't realize you carry these traits or these experiences through business with every aspect of your life. And I glanced all through your social media, and the energy that you give off, the positivity, the growth, the intention, the vision. I mean, that's all part of it, but that comes through, everything that we've just talked about, being in the room with the right people,
Yes.
having that growth mindset. That's huge. That's huge. And I think another great thing about you, which I didn't know till now, that's why I love doing these on the spot, is that
Okay.
you didn't have all this experience to graduate to the level of the deals that you're doing currently. And I feel like it's rapidly gotten to this point in a short amount of time, and it starts in here.
Oh, so much so.
Yeah.
It is your belief limit. Do you believe you can do it, and do you have the confidence to go do it? And is it scary? Oh yeah, man. Of course. It is scary. But if you gain the confidence to go do a big deal, then you put yourself in a position where you become accountable to yourself, and you're no longer limiting yourself and pushing yourself downwards. And once you do the first one, then you're like, oh, cool, I can do this. Let's go do the next one. Let's go do the next one. And that's really what I think being part of a community that is winning at a high level pushes you so much, helps you become accountable, because there's either you bring results back or you hide. And you fade away.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get Grant's attention. I wanted Grant to know my name. And in a world where Grant has millions of followers,
people coming at him left and right.
Yes. How do I get known? The only way to get known is to bring results and to do stuff that he will say, I haven't seen many people do that before when I've taught him real estate. A lot of people talk a big game, but not a lot of people bring actual results to the table. So
this guy's taking action.
Yeah. So now he knows my name. He knows who I am. We meet every week in our real estate mastermind call, and he knows what's my vision, right? He knows that I want to go buy $1 billion of real estate in 7 years, and he's supportive of that because it's a great success story for him, me being his student.
Sure. That's incredible. And would you say that belief has all, because a lot of people struggle with this, and me being newer to the real estate world in general, and everything like that, it took a lot of, just like you, I mean, finding yourself and in belief as well. We all get caught up in results, creating belief and faith once in a while, but like I mentioned before, it starts from within. I think that's the biggest thing. Was that something you had to work on, or did you always have that foundation, that inner faith and belief? So once you were in the right room with the right people, this just took off.
I've been working on myself for a long time. I was of all things, I was involved in multi-level marketing back when I was a teenager.
Mm.
My neighbor, my down the street neighbor, he was a Herbalife distributor,
Mm.
and he convinced me to join when I was 15 years old. And it was a multi-level marketing, right? And a lot of people would say it's one of those scammy pyramid schemes.
Sure.
But what it was for me is it taught me how to talk to people, how to negotiate, how to communicate, how to rely on an educational system that was beyond college, university, high school, because they would push us to read books, listen to tapes. So early on, I had assignments. I said, look, you want to be successful in this business? And by the way, I never really made any money in multi-level marketing. But what I got out of it was the discipline of always reading books,
Mm-hmm.
always listening to audio tapes,
Mm-hmm.
always listening to content that was inspiring, motivating, building, and growth minded. So for 20 plus years now, I have been listening to stuff and reading books like Think and Grow Rich,
Mm-hmm.
like how to win friends and influence
Influence
people,
people.
right? All these books, man, that these companies actually give to their distributors to empower them.
Many people don't know that.
They don't.
No.
And I ate them up, and I read them 3, 4, 5 times. That was my first experience. Then when I got to the States and I was at HP, I actually ended at an Amway meeting, right? In somebody's apartment that told me, oh, there's a business meeting, you should show up. And I end up at that meeting and I'm like, cool, I'll do it, right?
Yeah.
I don't lose anything. What am I
Yeah.
gonna lose?
Yeah.
Some time?
Yeah.
And then that's another 4 or 5 years that I was a distributor on paper, but that these guys told me, you gotta read 2 books a month or 3 books a month. You gotta listen to a tape every day, and I did it. So I went to this self-development school outside of the training that I was getting at HP, outside of college. So never stop growing.
Mm-hmm.
So your mindset evolves over time, and eventually you start ridding yourself of the baggage of you thinking, oh, I can't do this,
Mm-hmm.
or I've never done it. That's probably even worse, that I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
The I never done it.
Mm-hmm.
The I never done it implies that you can never do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when people say that to themselves, they're completely shutting the door for new opportunities and growth. So I left that behind, and it's been adventure after adventure, learning after learning. Man, I've built multimillionaire businesses in e-commerce, in logistics, in marketing, in real estate, completely in different industries, but the principles are exactly the same.
You couldn't have said it better. And I think that, a lot of people don't realize that, but we all have 2 arms, 2 legs, and generally built the same. But what makes a business successful, or you having success, is inside. And you said that before with working on yourself. I'd start there if I go all over. Before I jumped into a business venture, I'd make sure, and like you said, with that multi-level marketing, they offer that, where they force you to read and read all these classic books and self-development and all of that. Once you get that down and you master your inside and you're your authentic self and you're full of unlimited, thoughts and beliefs, and you have that faith, it might take you a little while depending on what business you're in, but the sky's the limit.
Yep. So,
yeah. I love that. And that's why I wanted to have you on here, because I knew that I see that through your content, and also that you connected with Keston. How did you meet Keston? How did that even happen?
Oh man, it's a good one. I got a text maybe 2.5 months ago from someone in Texas that literally said, "Hey Carlos, we have a 48 unit deal in Georgia, and I hear you're the multifamily guy." And I'm like, "Yep, I'm the multifamily guy."
Love that. Love that.
Jump on a Zoom tomorrow. So we jumped on a Zoom, and it was a guy named Oscar. You might know him.
Okay.
With Keston on the Zoom, and they basically showed me the deal, and I said, guys, it looks very intriguing. The numbers check out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there in 2 days. So I flew in, met Keston, met a couple of the other guys, and we hit it off. And we're closing on that deal at the end of this month. In fact, I have a Zoom tonight to show that to investors. It's a 48 unit, beautiful property down in Columbus, Georgia. And it's going to be another one of those amazing investments for ourselves and people that are riding with us on that deal.
That's awesome. Yeah, and he's one of those people who, the more you're around him, I mean, he just brings positivity and growth and everything that we discussed. I mean, he's top notch. He's one of those people that focus on building from within.
Yes.
And so what are some of the the practices, or is there anything daily that you do as far as mindset or meditation or spiritual, anything you practice for your spirituality, anything like that?
I write my goals every day.
Mm-hmm.
I try to teach people every day something. So I
Love
learn
that.
something, I give it away.
Love that.
That's something that you need to do for yourself. Most people think it's for other people, but first and foremost, it's for you, because it locks in when you teach somebody else. And really, as far as just spiritual life, I pray, writing down the goals, quiet time, and I work out every day, man. Right? That's my spiritual time, working
Perfect.
out.
Perfect. But you have intention, you have your goals, you create that GPS path. I mean, that's huge, because if you don't have that why, or you don't have that direction, you're going to be all over the place. Or one day you're going to be motivated, and the next day you're not,
Yes. And it's a process, right? Because a lot of
Mm.
people think that it's, one day I'm going to wake up and be perfect. No, guys, none of us is perfect.
Mm-mm.
And you got to remind yourself, is what I'm doing right now moving the needle closer to where I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
So you start learning what things you have to say no to, which is the most powerful thing. You can say yes to everything, but learning what to say no to that are things that are not helping you advance forward towards your goal.
Yep.
That's the most important thing, because the most precious asset we have is time
100%.
and our energy to produce results.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're spread out, spread thin, got too much going on, that you're not going to have that same energy.
Yep.
And
Don't focus.
and you're the multi-family guy, so like you got that, everything's in line. And that's why you've had quick success.
Yes.
Everything matches up to that from within and on the outside too.
And Lenny, it's a 20-year overnight success. Right.
That's a lot. That's a thing a lot of people probably don't understand either.
Yeah. It's like, it seems quick, but the reality is that I've been building myself for 20 years, founding and selling multimillionaire companies. So once you've done that enough in other industries, it carries to real estate, because real estate is a business.
It's a business. Yeah.
When you're buying a property, a multifamily property, you're buying a business. Your tenants are customers.
Mm-hmm.
You have multiple streams of income from the property. You have a management team in place. You have expenses. You have things that you need to look after. So it's a business. If you know how to run it and optimize it and grow it, you're going to be very successful. If you don't know what to do, you're going to take time to learn and understand, and you're going to make some mistakes. We all will make mistakes, but it's one of the safest businesses out there, because one thing we know, people will always need a roof over their head. Rents will continue to go up.
I don't think rents have went down in the last 80 years.
Never.
Yeah.
And the demand for housing continues to explode. And even more so these days with the newer generations, buying a home for them is no longer as interesting as our parents or our grandparents.
It's all about mobility, flexibility, options. Yep.
Exactly. I want to live here 6 months or a year here, move down the street, or you know what? I don't want to mow the lawn. I don't want to repair my roof. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I want it taken care of. I want a concierge experience.
Yep. Well, listen, I know that you have something after this. I guess, what would be one parting thing you want to leave our audience with today as far as mindset, business, whatever?
Yeah, Lenny. So first of all, thank you again for anybody that wants to get more content about business, real estate, how to get into multifamily. Follow me on Instagram. I am Carlos 10X. And really the parting thoughts is, look, no matter where you are, what level you are in your journey, just know that the key to success is to get around the folks that already have the success and to get in close proximity. And it's not going to be easy, guys. You're going to have to work for that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Most people think that, oh, you meet somebody at a networking event and, hey, Carlos, how's it going? My name is so-and-so. I'd love to bring you some value, help you in any way. And they say that once. And all of a sudden, they don't understand that Carlos is on a rocket to success, right? And it's going fast, man. Mm-hmm. That rocket's like 1,000 miles a minute. And that person actually feels bad because Carlos didn't call back or didn't text back or whatever, and fails to get attention. It's like me trying to get on Grant Cardone's train.
Why would he spend any time with you in the beginning?
Yeah.
Why? What are you going to offer him? What value?
Doesn't know me yet.
Doesn't know you.
So my job is to get his attention and provide as much value as I can until the day, and that could be a week, a month, a year. It could be 5 years before Grant Cardone knows me. Am I going to give up hanging out with a multi-billionaire? No. That's my target. Mm-hmm. If it happens sooner, great. So do not give up on getting close to people that are on a rocket ship to success.
Yep.
Continue to persist on building that relationship. It's on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on that person. And if you want to mentor out of that, it is your job to keep that mentorship relationship alive.
Yep.
By providing value, asking questions, understanding what does this person care about? What do they want? You know what I knew Grant wanted? He wanted for people to become investor in his deals. That's what he cares the most about.
Yep.
Because he's on a journey to $40 billion of real estate.
It's insane. It's
so awesome. You know what I did? I helped him get multi-million dollars for his investments. That's what I did. And I told people, look, I've invested this much. You should invest too. Yep. That's how I got his attention.
Provided
That's
value.
how you get people's attention. Provide value, massive value, and do something that actually raises their eyebrow and say, oh man, this dude's different. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anybody do this.
And there's so much wisdom in that. And what I loved about this, how humble you were, throughout your journey of the last 20 years and realized your place. And you had to provide value. There's a humbleness to that I think a lot of people have a hard time, understanding. And why aren't they calling me back, or why aren't they spending time with me? Why would they? You're trying to be on their level. They have everything you want, so to have that humbleness and that awareness, is huge. And how are you going to provide value? How are you going to better yourself? And be able to stay around those type of people.
Exactly, man. That's it. That's the shortcut too. I wish I had known that when I first got started. It took me a good 10, 12 years to understand I need a mentor.
Yeah.
I need someone with success. I need to go follow somebody that already has the fruit on the tree.
Yep.
Had I done that sooner, I'd be much further along, but it's never too late.
Yep.
I'm barely in my 40s, man. By the time I'm 50,
who knows?
I'll be a billionaire.
Yep. The sky's the limit. There is no limit. It's all in your mind.
Exactly.
Boom. Well, listen, you're inspiring, man. This was great. We got a lot in. We dug deep. Thank you for making the time. Everybody go follow him. I am Carlos 10X on IG. That's basically it, man. So listen, we'll definitely talk more outside of this. And hopefully I can add some value in the multifamily space to you, and we'll get going from there.
Let's do a deal together, man.
100%, Carlos. All right. You take care. Okay.
Take care. You too.
All right. See you later.